Hi, everybody. Verl Workman here, CEO of Workman Success Systems, and welcome to another episode of the Faces of Real Estate. We have an exciting and unbelievable guest with us today in the form of Chance Brown, coming all the way from Houston, Texas. Chance, welcome to the Faces of Real Estate.
Thanks, Verl. I'm excited to be here. Appreciate the opportunity to chat with you about stuff.
Well, we're excited to see all of your growth and all the changes that have happened in your life over the last couple of years together. It's been tremendous.
It really has been phenomenal. I mean, when we came to you, we were in the planning phases of building this brand. And since then, now we're just about to cross 300 agents. We've opened 2 more offices. We've got 2 more planned for next year. We're very seriously looking to open a second market. And so it's been a roller coaster, but it's been a heck of a fun ride.
Well, I think that's really cool. So just tell us who you are and a little bit about your business.
Sure. So I'm the broker of CB&A Realtors in Houston, Texas. We are, like I said, about 300 agents. We've got 3 offices right now in Katy, the Woodlands, Northwest Harris County, and growing very quickly. We're a Fast 100 company. We've been named the number 1 place to work in Houston the last 4 years.
Wow.
And so we've got a great group of folks doing good work, and we're excited about the future. We're excited about where the industry is going, and we're just doing our best to be good stewards of the community here in Houston.
It's kind of fun, Chance, when you think about your family. I think about your wife and your kids, but you've grown, you're a really big family. You've got another 300 people in your family.
That's right. And we really try to, one of our biggest challenges as we have grown has been trying to keep that culture in place. And so it's really been something that we've been very diligent about and focused on as we've grown. It's a family atmosphere, and we want to keep it that way. So,
and it's hard. The bigger you get, the harder it is. That you have to be real intentional about it.
Absolutely.
So tell me about your family.
So I've got a wife and I've got 2 kids. We got a teenager over the course of the COVID lockdown. So she's that's a big ball of emotion, and then I've got a big ball of never-ending energy in my 9-year-old son. So lots of fun around the Brown house these days.
It doesn't slow down. I promise you that.
I'm sure. Yeah, no, time flies. It's incredible to think that I have a teenager, because I feel like, she was born last week.
I know. And, and they start getting awkward. That 13 is kind of a weird age. They get a little bit awkward. They start acknowledging boys, even though they don't act like they like them. They act differently around them. It's just funny to watch that. I've got a 13-year-old too. And Carly's my youngest, and your 13's your oldest. So I've been through this 5 other times. So
right.
I like, she can't fool me. I've seen it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. The thing and we tell her that all the time. We're like, look, anything that you're going to try and get away with, we've already tried. Right. But the weird thing, and we talk about this all the time, is it's really, you see her maturing into a young woman, but at the same time, it's those last little holdouts of being a little girl.
Like, don't throw my Barbies away yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not going to play with them, but don't throw them away.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, so is Catherine involved in your business at all? Does she get involved with what you're doing at work and your growth?
She is. So she has, she started out, she was not, and now over the last couple of years, she has been very, very involved in the growth of the business. She trains our agents on all things CRM and really kind of heads that portion of our lead generation activities. And now she's getting more into the marketing side of things. And so she's become just de facto video editor and things like that. And she's really kind of just learned it on her own, but she's doing a great job with it. So I just kind of leave her alone and say, this is what I need, please. And then it shows up.
I love having my wife involved in the business. A lot of people think it's hard to have family. I'm kind of the opposite. I love having my family involved and, seeing them at work. And then on Sunday dinners, we have to be really careful about eliminating work talk from our Sunday dinner because their spouses don't care as much. But,
Right.
having my, Chance, in all these years that I've had my own business, I'm the CEO. But my wife is absolutely the queen. And I come into the office, I get a nod when Colleen comes in. It's like, moving heaven and earth. They love her.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I know I'm not in charge. I'm
Right.
well aware of it, and I don't even try. So, but yeah, no, I think really the key is exactly what you said was, when you're at home, it's home time. When you're at work, it's work time. And yeah, the tendency is to cross those lines, but you really have to draw them pretty pretty clear in the sand.
Yeah, I think that's all. I think that's awesome. It would be fun to see what happens with your children as they go through and they start to understand who you really are and the impact you're making on people's lives. I think it's really cool that they're going to be able to see that. Tell us a little bit about the community where you serve. I mean, Houston's massive.
Houston's massive. I mean, Harris County, it has more population than 28 states. It's bigger than New England. It's an enormous area. We jokingly say that Houston is an hour from Houston, right? Because it is. And so
I've been on the Beltway. I know what you're talking about.
It's a huge area. We think that when we're said and done as far as offices are concerned, that we'll probably end up with something in the ballpark of 13 to 15 offices in Houston. And so it's just a massive area. We do have agents that represent all of those areas. But in particular, we're on the west side through northwest up to the north. So if you just kind of take that quadrant of the county, that's where we have physical representation at this point.
So Houston's kind of a really interesting and cool place. I've been there when it's dead summer and it's so hot and humid that I can't move or breathe. What I like about it is when I get up in the morning, all my shirts look like they've already been ironed.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And I've also seen it after a rainstorm when the streets are rivers.
That's almost where we are right now. We got about different parts of the city. Where I am right now, we got about 3.5 inches last night, but there were parts of the city that got 10 inches last night.
I mean, that's just crazy. So
that's an insane amount of rain. It's not as bad as you might have expected, but for most of us, it's like, hey, we needed the rain. It hadn't rained in a few weeks, so we'll take it.
I remember as you were starting this business and you were getting ready to open, it was right in the middle of hurricane season and you had these hurricanes start. So I'd like to hear a little bit about how you decided to start giving back to your community and what was going on in your life and your business at that time and how it's continued.
Sure. So, we had always been, in my opinion, really good about doing volunteer work. And part of that was, I am a believer that realtors have an amazing responsibility to their communities because of what we do. And I don't think that we do a very good job as an industry of stepping back and saying, we're the purveyors of the American dream. We're the protectors of the American dream of homeownership. And with that comes an absolutely, in my opinion, awesome responsibility to carry vibrant communities forward for the future. And we have always been very involved in the community service aspect of things, but we learned very, very quickly after Hurricane Harvey that we did not have a systematic way. We did not have a process-driven way of committing financial resources into the community. And so, Hurricane Harvey, obviously the most devastating natural disaster in American history. It was awful, 50 inches of rain over the course of a few days, hundreds of thousands of homes flooded. It was miserable. I was very fortunate personally that we did not get flooded. We were in a new neighborhood, good drainage, all of that. But we were flooded into our house. And so we're sitting there watching all this stuff happen on the news and feeling kind of guilty, which is weird. It was kind of like a weird survivor's guilt that we didn't flood, but also starting to feel exceptionally helpless because there really at that point wasn't anything that we could do. We couldn't even get out of our neighborhood because it was so flooded around us. And so literally via text message, I started texting with my attorney and saying, hey, what about setting up a 501c3? What about setting up a foundation of some sort so that we have a systematic way of being able to contribute financial resources in the community, as well as labor and human resources. And that really was the birth of the CB&A Foundation. And so we had no idea what we were doing. To some extent still don't, but we're figuring it out as we go along the way. It took about 8 months to get the tax status all set up. But in the meantime, we acted and raised money and everything else like we were already approved. And our real goal in that first year was, could we raise a certain amount of money? It was about $17,000 that was going to be set aside in reserves for our agents in case we had another Hurricane Harvey. and people flooded. And we knew we wouldn't be able to fix everything, but if we had money there that we could offset short-term cash needs, things like that. That was really what we were trying to do. And so we just said, hey, if outside of this $17,000, if we raise anything extra, we'll put it back into the community. Well, we got 4 months in and we had raised our $17,000. And I was completely shocked. Not that my people aren't generous people. We just didn't know what the heck we were doing. And so we said, okay, well, let's go find an organization that we want to support. And we did. And at this time we had one office. And so we were able to support this summer camp for underprivileged kids that otherwise wouldn't get that summer camp experience, that so many people get to enjoy. So we sent about 125 kids to summer camp, which was awesome. And then the next year it just got a little bit bigger and we had opened a second office. And so we had this organization over here and this organization over here. And as it's gone on, we're now in our third year. I think I'm pretty sure based on where we are right now, that we will cross $150,000 back into the community in 3 years. We have it's kind of taken on a life of its own, to be honest. And it's been phenomenal, but through no real planning and no strategy whatsoever, it's kind of taken on this mission of helping underprivileged youths reach their full potential. And so we still work with that organization that I told you about with the summer camp, Sci-Hope. We signed a big overarching sponsorship agreement with Big Brothers Big Sisters this year. And so we've committed $50,000 to them this year. And every month, twice a month, they're going to be bringing kids into our offices and we'll be able to mentor one-on-one with those kids. And so we're really excited about that opportunity. We'll start with the new school year in August. So it's going to be phenomenal. We sponsor, here in Texas, rodeo is a big deal, right? The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is the biggest name in the game.
Yeah, Cowboys in Texas. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they do a calf scramble, and we have a calf scramble kid, and they have to keep up to date with us on raising their steer that they then get to go auction off the next year, and they get that money for college. And so we do that. We have a scholarship at a local university for future entrepreneurs. We work with a couple of different military organizations like Wreaths Across America and the 100 Club and things like that. And so it's just been, it's a testament to the generosity of our agents who they contribute on their CDA. We also put a portion of their transaction fees into that foundation for every transaction they do, and for their monthly fees and things like that. All of that goes in there. And so, I'm not calling my shot, but we might raise $100,000 this year. We're going to be really close if we don't. Really close. So we're excited the direction it's going.
Your agents give like that, isn't it?
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. And their willingnness to get involved. We've had a ton of people sign up to mentor these kids one-on-one when we start this thing with Big Brothers Big Sisters. We've got folks that are going out and working with these different organizations independent of our organized activities, which we do. They're just going out and doing it on their own, which is really just it's been tremendous.
So how much of the giving part of your business is become your culture? It's like we hire people that want to be givers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I generally have two rules for working at CB&A. One of them, and pardon my language, is you can't be an a-hole. That's the number one rule. You have to be a decent person. And the second rule is when people need help, we help. And that's really it. And I don't care if it's one agent helping another agent, an agent helping an agent's client, or us helping in the community. And so that really has been ingrained. And we have a motto. We have it printed on T-shirts. We have it up on the wall here. It's do for, not to. And everything that we do, we try to do it in an experiential way that seems like we're serving and not asking somebody to do something.
I buy into that 100%. I think that's a tremendous thing. I like to say we serve regardless of the opportunity, not because.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you pick? How do you choose when you've got so many agents that are all contributing? Everybody has something they're passionate about. How do you choose the things that you're going to do as a foundation, and how do you keep that from having some agents not be happy with the choice over another choice?
Yeah. So it started to be difficult when we opened our second office. that was where we experienced sort of the friction, because we were committing more money to this office because we had more agents here, but we wanted to make a name and be involved in the community in our second office location. And now we have a third. So what we've essentially done is, for every office we're opening, we're adding 2 more people to the board of directors from that office. And they can take the temperature of that office, bring it in. And as long as it we know we can't be everything to everybody, and we're not going to try to. So we've kind of gone down this road. And, the backstory of it is, we ask the question, why don't people buy homes? Right? And our thought process being, if we wanted to be part of ensuring vibrant communities, part of that was breaking generational cycles of poverty. And in order to do that, we knew home ownership had to play a role, because if you look at the majority of Americans, their wealth is built up in their home. Right. And so to break those cycles of poverty, to help kids reach their potential, we needed to break the systemic poverty that's just been in communities for generations and generations. So we started asking the question, why don't people buy homes? We checked with NAR. They didn't really have an answer. They've studied every reason why people do buy homes, but they haven't studied why they don't. We're very fortunate here in Texas. We have the Texas A&M Real Estate Center, which is the largest publicly funded real estate think tank west of the Mississippi. And so we went to them, and they also had not done it, but they had some ideas. And their first thought was, it has to do with financial literacy, right? And that's not a socioeconomic thing. They basically told us they could go into the worst neighborhood in the city and find a person who doesn't know how to use a credit card, and they could go to the most expensive dorm on Texas A&M and find a rich kid that doesn't know how to use a credit card. That's just America being terrible at educating our youth on finance. Right. But the second thing was, they weren't getting the education to get the skills. They weren't, in the words of Big Brothers Big Sisters, they didn't see better to seek better. And so that's where we went to work. That's where we found we need to go do that. Give them the opportunity to see that there is more out there for them to achieve. And the beauty of it is, if we can do it with one kid and there are more kids in the family, we know that there's a ripple effect, right? So we know that if we can get this kid to realize his potential or her potential and go to a trade school or go into the military to learn a trade or something like that, we know that the next kid, the little brother or the little sister, will be, well, if they can do that, I can go to junior college, or I can go to a 4-year university. And so there's
I just love the concept. I love that concept. The first time I've heard that is, we got to get them to see what's available, what's possible. So they can seek it. If they don't ever see it, you can't hold them responsible for not wanting it, because they don't know it exists.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, brilliant. I love that concept. So, Chance, as you created this culture of giving, and you've got the foundation, you have board members, it sounds a little bit complex. So, for someone who wants to start giving back, how do you start?
You just start. You find the thing that you want to do to give back, and you just go make a phone call. It starts with a phone call. If you want to go the route of establishing a 501c3 like we have, it's a phone call to your attorney. Right. If you don't, yeah, exactly. If you don't, then it really is just reach out to the community organizations that, we have people who are passionate about animal rescue. That doesn't really fit into our mission, but it's a pick up the phone and call a local animal shelter. And how can you get involved? I'm a believer from a brokerage standpoint, or if you're a team leader standpoint, I think it's very important to get agents in a room together. And I don't care if that's a classroom or a meeting room or a community service project. I think it's good for their mental health that they be in a room together and realize that they're not the only people who think that all their clients are crazy, or who are having appraisal issues, or whatever it is. And so use it as an opportunity in your business to build camaraderie with your team and build camaraderie inside your brokerage, but also do good for what's going on out there in the world.
I love that. You know, Chance, you're making a difference, and I love to see you growing as a leader. I love to see your company growing, and you deserve the success that you're having. But most importantly, I love to see that your charitable donations and the culture of giving is growing, and it's growing significantly. And so I just wish you continued success in your business, but more importantly, in your ability to make an impact on the agents you serve and the communities you serve. And as you continue to do that, I think you're going to have continued a massive success.
Well, thank you, man. We love doing it. So it's a big part of who we are.
Well, thanks for being part of our family. It's fun to watch it, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being part of the Faces of Real Estate, Chance.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it. You'll have a great day.